Did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Join us as we seek the truth and travel the long road to justice. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi Fruit Loop. What you know?
Did you know that there is a plant that consumes rats in the Philippines?
Oh my gosh, I need to buy one of these plants.
Yeah, I'm getting this plant. So scientists have discovered a rat-eating pitcher plant. They discovered it actually in 2009, and it's considered one of the biggest carnivorous plants on the planet. Feed me, Seymour.
Right, that's exactly
yeah.
Yeah.
So getting that one.
Real quick, we want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Too Cool T-Shirt Quilts. You can go to toocooltshirtquilts.com/pretty lies and alibis. They will know we sent you. And also big, quick thank you to Alexia for the Venmo donation. We really appreciate that.
Thank you.
So anyways, so I went and saw the new Elvis movie last night.
I heard it was good.
It was so good. So my Aunt Angie, I told you guys last week, she's a huge, huge Elvis fan. In fact, I got like a picture here in the studio of Elvis in the Vegas years because I have band photos on the wall. But man, I learned so much because I honestly didn't know a lot of his backstory.
Yeah.
Very well done. Just the colors and the way it was presented. It was super cool.
I've been to his home.
Yeah, I've been once, but I would love to go back because I was probably 19.
Yeah. I took my mom and my aunt. Yeah, it was really neat.
Yeah, I was raised on Elvis with my grandpa and my aunt. So it was pretty cool last night. All right, so we're going to jump back in here. One thing this weekend I was working on all this research, and I found an email from Adam, which is Lori's brother, his wife, that she wrote to investigators on August 8th, 2019. So this is pretty much just after Charles had been murdered. And she's really trying to help out investigators, kind of get a backstory on the family, Lori's family, because, well, we've said before, there's some things in there that might explain why Lori seemingly thought she was going to always get away with stuff. But there's some other things she says that comes in later about things. But real quick, before we get started, I do want to address a couple of things like that people have asked on Twitter, which is, why didn't you include this or that about this person or that person? And so it's more of a thing where Fruit Loop and I really in the beginning, we decided, number one, especially with this case, those custody documents were 1,700 pages. That's a lot. There's some information in there about Charles's ex-wife and his kids and their custody battle, which when we did these kind of episodes about the custody documents a year ago, if it doesn't directly relate to Lori and Chad's murdering spree, we don't feel the need to pull anybody who are what I call living victims of Lori, which I think Charles's sons are.
Yeah.
And also, the thing about Charles that I think I want to make clear, and we talked about it last episode, when you're married to somebody and times are good and they're giving you a story about her kids being abused, most times you're going to side with that spouse because Charles cared about both Tylee and Colby.
Well, he had no reason not to believe her. I mean, at that point, he had no reason not to believe her. Now, if you would have asked him that close to his death, he would have probably said right the opposite, you know?
Well, in a text, and we get to that probably in 2 weeks when we get around the time of his murder, he mentioned something to Lori about, I'm not going to let you destroy me like you destroyed Joe. I think after a period of time, things started clicking with Charles, but it's not really giving anybody a free pass. That's kind of what was said. It's just that it's kind of assumed that Charles supported, and it's proven that Charles supported Lori throughout that custody battle. But again, like we said last episode, why would he have any reason to doubt her or Colby at that point, who was saying that he had been abused? And we said, that's not our discussion to have. Yeah. So that's why, because we're not going to sit here and sling mud at somebody who's dead.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to question his motives.
His boys were kids. It's, like.
Exactly. It doesn't have any bearing on the victims in this case right now. So I just wanted to explain, why we choose what we put in here. I'm just not going to badmouth somebody who's deceased or pull in dirty laundry that really needs to stay in the hamper. That's just my opinion. So I just wanted to, even for listeners who maybe were wondering that haven't asked. So there we go. So back to the document. Adam's ex-wife, or his wife, I'm sorry, emailed investigators and said that Barry, which is Lori's dad, had went to jail for writing a false document to a judge. He also put everything in Alex's name so the IRS couldn't take it. While Barry was in jail, Alex allegedly refinanced the house and took $250,000 and spent all of it on hookers, allegedly. 2 years later, Alex is still living at home and the family acts like nothing happened. She says Stacy, which is Melanie's mom, is found by Alex almost dead, and the rest of the family is in Hawaii. While Stacy was in a hospice facility, Alex is home ordering things with her credit card. Again, the family acts like nothing happened. So you pick up from there, Fruit Loop.
So 5 years later, Alex is still living with his parents in Phoenix. Lori gets 2 little dogs, and Lori decided she didn't want them anymore. So Alex drove them out in the desert and turned them loose and drove off. She claims that he would always joke about it. She said a few weeks ago, which would have been around the time Charles is murdered, Melanie's and Brandon are divorcing and their dog is missing. And she says that Alex shot and killed it because Melanie's didn't want it anymore. And Melanie's had told Brandon this. And obviously Brandon shared it. So
I'm glad Bailey got out alive.
Yeah. So February of 2015, Chad had a second vision about moving. He said, I was walking down a path and I came to a fork in the path. As I looked down the right fork, I saw in the distance a glorious city with a temple in the center of it. A voice said, moving to Rexburg will be a tremendous blessing to your children and your grandchildren. He says, and this is part of his, his blog, right?
Yeah. So we're going to start getting into his blog post. And like we said earlier, he put up a ton of blogs that first day that he created this website. So the next couple episodes are going to be diving into those.
Yeah. So he says, I glanced down the left fork and sensed it represented us not moving away. That path was filled with many lost opportunities. After this vision, I reread my children's patriarchal blessings, and each one verified what I had seen. I was still waiting for the right time to even mention it to my family, though. You want to pick up there?
Yeah. A couple of weeks later, as we were eating dinner, the following words slipped out of my mouth. When we moved to Rexburg, he said, Tammy wasn't thrilled, and I completely understood her feelings. Moving to Idaho would be a major undertaking that would uproot us from our families. So I tried not to bring it up again. Then after a few weeks, she also felt impressed by the spirit that it was what we should do. She started looking at real estate websites, and one house in particular jumped out at us, and there was a second home that seemed like it might work. So we decided to drive up to Rexburg in late March. And he said, we had learned from past experiences that if we were supposed to move, things would fall into place almost magically. If we weren't supposed to move yet, nothing would work out. So Chad says he calls the realtor of the first home and she agrees to meet them there that following Saturday. He said, I mentioned the second home, and she also arranged for them to look at that as well. He said, when we went to the first house, it wasn't what they had advertised, and they were disappointed, but they decided to look at that second house. He said it was a lot like their home in Springville, except it had 4 acres of pasture and a pond. The home needed new carpet and fresh paint, but as I walked through the pasture and discussed the house with my son Garth, we both really felt this was the place for us. Garth told him, I feel I could really thrive here. Tammy and the other children agreed, and from that point on, everything came together quickly, and they closed on that house in early June.
So once we moved, I began working on my novel. It was a year overdue, but I started going to the Davy O. McKay Library on the BYU Idaho campus each morning and working on it for a few hours at a time. The final chapters seemed to be dictated to me by the Spirit, and I typed as fast as I could. It was a unique experience to be writing about the BYU Idaho Center and be able to see it out the library window as I did so. There were many indications that this is where the Lord wanted us. The move has opened up many opportunities for me in the publishing world. We had been warned it might be hard for the other family members to immediately find good jobs, but Tammy was quickly hired as an assistant librarian at Madison Middle School. Tammy's sister, Samantha, and we know she was on Dateline, right?
Yep.
Said that Chad wanted her family to make the move with them. Chad made around $2,000 a year off his books, and their publishing company put them into bankruptcy back in 2008.
And we went through all that on the last episode.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, sometimes we may jump ahead and pull things into the timeline that makes sense. And we were just talking, sometimes we may have to backtrack if we find more information as we research. But on body cam footage, Charles tells police on January 30th, 2018, that between 2015 and 2016, that's when he really started to see Lori change. And she started to become obsessed about her new religious beliefs. So I think that's kind of important to put here because Chad has this revelation, and in June 2015, Chad and Tammy moved to Rexburg. And then you see this is about the time Lori discovers, we think, his books. So June and July of 2015, Tylee's actually active on Twitter, and she's tweeting about seeing her friend who Lori is going to fly to Hawaii to come and visit. And she posts 3 different pictures of them in 3 separate posts. One picture is before the friend's visit. One is during the visit. And then the third one is at the end of the trip with Tylee saying, gonna miss this girl. So you see back in 2015, it seems like Tylee's kind of happy at this point. So July 28th, 2015, Chad launches his blog on cdaybell.com. And on that day, he posts a ton of things. Clearly, he had been storing this stuff up for when he got his website. So we're going to do his first post on his blog.
So his first post on Chad's blog, the post is titled 1 Foot in the Grave. And that goes along with his book, too, I think. I think he wrote a book called that, if I remember right. I don't know if that's the one I read or not. It says, unless you plan to live forever, you've got to read this book. This is a collection of true graveyard stories you won't be able to put down. Yeah, that's not the one I read.
All right, Fruit Loop, why don't we pause here for our sponsors this week? And we're just grateful that people have chosen to use our podcast as a means to promote their product, and it helps us to keep doing what we do. So we do appreciate it. What's the first ad, Fruit Loop?
So you're the first.
Oh, yep. So our first paid sponsor is EVERLYWELL. And I got a box right here. Summer days mean longer days, better outdoor activities, and more ways to get healthier, including checking in on your health and wellness. With EVERLYWELL, you can take action today by taking one of their at-home lab tests or by adding their vitamins and supplements into your daily routine.
EVERLYWELL is a digital healthcare designed for you, all at an affordable and transparent price. They offer multiple tests such as food sensitivity, a women and men's health test, a thyroid test, a sleep and stress test, and so much more.
Yep, that's right. Here's how it works. EVERLYWELL ships products straight to you with everything needed in one package. To take your at-home lab test, simply collect your sample and use the included prepaid shipping label to mail your test back to a certified lab. Your physician-reviewed results get sent to your phone or device just a couple of days after you send it in. And you can share your results with your primary care physician to help guide the next steps. And if you choose to order vitamins and supplements, you can start adding them to your daily routine right away. It's really simple, and over 1 million people have trusted EVERLYWELL to support their health and wellness goals, and you should too.
It's all so simple and easy to use. I decided to take the food sensitivity test. The test came in some awesome packaging. The test was easy to take with one finger stick. The directions in the test kit were easy to follow and laid out. It was a stress-free experience. So sending it on its way to get the results is simple with their prepaid shipping label. I was really impressed with the packaging and everything.
Yep. And for the listeners of the show, EVERLYWELL is offering a special discount of 20% off an at-home lab test at everlywell.com/whattheworld. That's everlywell.com/whattheworld for 20% off your next at-home lab test. everlywell.com/whattheworld. I'm going to do a YouTube video of me taking the test, and then I'll upload my results. So keep an eye out for that. And we have one more this week.
So our next partner has a product that I use literally every day. I started taking AG1 because I wanted to start focusing on bettering my gut health. Athletic Greens is lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free.
Along with that, Athletic Greens supports better sleep quality and recovery and supports mental clarity and alertness. The benefits of using AG1 are phenomenal.
I've been using it over the past couple of weeks now, and I'm glad that I have. AG1 is a small micro habit with big benefits. It's one thing you can do every single day to take better care of yourself.
It costs less than $3 a day, and it's an amazing investment for your health.
That's exactly right. So instead of spending more than $3 on a cup of coffee in the morning, spending that $3 to better your health is a great choice. You're truly investing in an all-in-one nutritional insurance. My health routine means so much to me, and AG1 has become a partner in my healthy choices.
So right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health.
So to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/whattheworld. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/whattheworld to take ownership over your gut health and your overall health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Do it, guys. Let's go.
All right, back to the story.
So he goes on to say this is a collection of true graveyard stories you won't be able to put down. You will meet such characters as Eddie, a lock-picking ghost, Pamela, an error-prone psychic, a relentless coffin-chasing cow, grandmas who steal decorations, brazen graveside lovers, a rock band's memorial visit, Miss Robinson and her buried leg. These are many other memorable characters within these pages. The author shares his own cemetery blunders and bizarre experiences, along with his dealings with meddling spirits. He even gives tips on how to outfox the Grim Reaper. It's a must-read for anyone who isn't in the ground already. And there's a side note from the author. The original version of this book was released in 2001, soon after I'd retired after 5 years as a cemetery sexton. I then took a job in a private sector without any intention of ever working again in a graveyard. Then the Great Recession struck, and the business I was working for shut down. As luck would have it, the position of cemetery sexton was open at a different cemetery in the area. I applied and got the job, where I worked for another 5 years and had several more entertaining and unforgettable experiences.
Yep. Crazy. So he says, in recent months, I felt it was now time to expand the original book by adding new anecdotes and updating several of the original stories. And Chad says, I hope you like the additions. So July 2019, the same day, he posted another entry, which is titled Chasing Paradise. And in the post, it says, Tina Marlar's family seems to have it all. Her parents, Frank and Carmen, are loving and supportive of Tina and her older sister, Kim. However, when Frank carries a secret of Frank carries a secret of eternal importance. When Tina dies in a car accident, she is surprised to meet Lucille, the paternal grandmother she never knew. She also discovers her father had once been a member of the LDS church, but had long ago abandoned his faith and extended family. Despite opposition in spirit prison, Tina embraces the gospel. Now, her only hope of being baptized and crossing into paradise lies with her family. It is her mission to bring her family to the truth. Can a spirit have much influence on the living? Kim has already started searching out the gospel on her own. Carmen has never been religious, but can't understand Frank's anger towards Kim's LDS friends. It takes one very determined spirit and a missionary who follows spiritual promptings to bring Frank's secret out in the open and to save all their souls. So July 28th, 2015, Chad posts another blog because he got a new website and he's been saving these up. It's called Through the Eyes of John, and it reads, I'm a special witness of Jesus Christ. It says, Jesus called me to be one of his apostles when he began his ministry, and for 3 years I walked and talked with him. I also defended him before the people of Jerusalem and mourned with him when those people rejected his message. Yet I never truly understood Jesus and his mission until those final painful days of his life. During that week, I watched my dearest friend transform from being not only a powerful teacher and healer, but to become savior of the world.
So John, the beloved's role in sharing the final days of the Savior's life has been overlooked. He stayed close to the Savior during those crucial final hours, becoming an eyewitness to the supreme sacrifice of Jesus Christ. This account is based on John's own words as found in the Bible.
Quick question. Didn't Chad think he was John the Beloved in a past life?
Yeah, seems like he was on that. He was on the
brother
list.
of Jesus or something, right?
Yeah, he was on the list somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So based on John's own words, as found in the Bible, the touching storyline combines with the striking artwork to create a wonderful spiritual reading experience that can be enjoyed by readers of all ages. You will feel a new love and appreciation for the Apostle John and for the Savior Jesus Christ. So all this is giving you a background of just his mental and like what he's thinking.
Right. And not only that, but it also kind of gives you, without having to read these books, a glimpse of these books transformed Lori in some way. So just by including these blog posts where he summarized these books, you can kind of see what kind of stuff Lori's reading at this point, where, according to Charles, this is when he saw the change in her. It's all crazy stuff. But so the same day he posts behind the scenes of Doug's Dilemma. And there's a lot of links on this blog entry to backstories on the characters and the different locations in the book. Look, guys, that would take up like 15 episodes. So I just broke it down. I did the dirty work. So it says, please see Doug's description found under behind the scenes of an errand for Emma. Doug's mission experience is based on my own mission to New Jersey's inner cities. The experiences are actual, but not necessarily chronological. And I've combined or changed a few of my companions' names, but anyone who spent 1987 to 1989 in the New Jersey Morristown Mission's Spanish zone should recognize most everyone. He said, I actually spent the first 4 months of my mission in the city Patterson, a few miles north of Newark. And then, so I picked out a few locations that kind of have interesting things in them. It says the Springville Fish Hatchery. He said, I underwent careful research for this part of the book. A song by Tim McGraw mentions a guy sitting on a bridge with his girlfriend as they feed fish some potato chips.
Oh, Lord, he done brought Tim McGraw in it.
Lord have mercy.
He ain't got nothing to do with this.
Yeah, leave Tim alone.
Oh, wow.
So he said, I thought I would have Doug and Becky do some similar things. He said, I bought some McDonald's French fries and went to the fish hatchery and tossed a few in the trout-filled trough while keeping an eye open for any game wardens. See, he was breaking the law back then. But the fish wouldn't go near the fries, likely due to the grease. I even dangled one in the water like a worm, but the fish just went to the far end of the trough. So I went home and rewrote that part of the story.
Oh, dear world.
Oh, my. He's trying to get the fish fat. Come on.
Yeah. Now. So July 28, 2017, the same day, he posts the behind the scenes for his book, Escape to Zion. And there's some interesting things here. As I constructed the plot of Escape to Zion, I turned to the scriptures and the words of the modern prophets. Admittedly, at first it was troubling to read many of the gloomy prophecies. Since I'm a young father who is trying to provide for his family, I certainly prefer the current world situation compared to what has been prophesied to come soon to come. But as I completed my research, I came away confident that although there will be some times of trouble and trial, the future will be glorious for the Lord's followers. They will emerge purified from the troubled times, prepared to build New Jerusalem and usher in an era of glory and peace. I hope Escape to Zion reflects the assurance that the Lord will care for his flock. The blog post has quotes of a lot of visions of war, etc. Despite the LDS Church's great investment in land and buildings in the Intermountain West, the saints have always been taught that Jackson County, Missouri is to be the church's final headquarters. Doctrine and Covenants 4571 says, "And it shall come to pass that the righteous shall be gathered out from among all nations, and shall come to Zion, singing with songs of everlasting joy." The mission of the 144,000 high priest. Okay, we have lost Gigi's mic. So in Escape to Zion,
I'm back. Sorry.
You're back.
No, okay. I was just saying that's the first time in this blog that I'm going to tell you, I totally get a pass on having to read that book for losing that one against each other live, because I read through this whole daggum blog. But that's the first time we see the 144,000, which becomes a huge part of this whole story as we know it. The crime.
Yeah, it seems here this was kind of a turning for him, that as he completed his research.
Yeah.
So this is a good place to stop, right?
I think if we finish this blog post, the Escape Design will be good.
Okay.
Zon. Right. So look, you saying purifying, I'm saying Zon.
Yeah.
So in Escape Design, Doug Dalton is serving as one of his group. And in DNC 7711, the group is defined during a question and answer session the prophet Joseph had with the Lord. Question is, what are we to understand by sealing the 144,000 out of all the tribes of Israel, 12,000 out of every tribe? And the answer, we are to understand that those who are sealed to this calling are high priests, ordained unto the holy order of God, to administer the everlasting gospel, for they are who are ordained out of every nation, kindred, tongue, and people by the angels, to whom is given power over the nations of the earth, to bring as many as will come to the church of the firstborn. See, we're starting to see all that stuff. Now, you got to remember, too, Lori's telling people Chad's this famous author. So in her mind, she's got him on a pedestal. She's already got some crazy beliefs, and then she's reading this stuff. So he goes on to say that Orson Pratt taught these men will be protected so that the power of death and what's that word for you? Pestilence and plague that will go forth in these days, sweeping over the nations of the earth, will have no power over them, which we heard again. You know, they're above all this. Lori don't have to eat. She don't have to go to the potty. Journal of Discourses, volume 1825, and that was given on April 11th, 1875. So that's the end of that blog post. But then you start to see the introduction into things that now become part of this multi-murder case.
Yep. Yeah.
So, and I think, yeah, the blog post can get a little, I think, boring. Not really boring, because, you know, then you're getting a glimpse into his brain. You know what I'm saying? And then you see the stuff Lori's consuming when she's already out in left field a little bit.
But I can honestly tell you, everything I just read would not cause me to buy that book. Just saying. My personal
I can
opinion.
tell you that after reading every blog post Chad made, man, my eyes were crossing some days. So we're going to finish here. And tomorrow we're going to pick back up on some of these blog posts. They kind of break off, and then he doesn't pick back up till later. And then there's just a few more, but still just an important part of the entire story, because I feel certain Lori was probably reading this blog way back in the day. I didn't see any kind of comments or
Totally
anything
agree.
that were made. Yeah, you muted for a second. I've had to mute because my dogs have been barking. Sherlock's at the door meowing. So anyways, that's all for tonight, but we'll be back tomorrow with some of Chad's writings, and we'll keep going in this timeline. Long way to go, guys. Believe me, we haven't even scratched the surface yet. So we will see you tomorrow.
Did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.